Okay, come one, come all to the greatest show on earth. Welcome, everybody, to this edition, the the 2nd of April, the year of our Lord, 2023. This is the Wanderings of Don, and I am your host, Donnie Maggs. This is a show where I just present to you just whatever comes out of my brain. It's uncensored. It can be quite dangerous. Thank you for showing around. I do have to still look into. I haven't revisited looking at the live streaming the show again. Again, I can go back to the previous. The options are going back to the previous, I want to say format, but where I was, I'll record it like I did before, live on YouTube. Off of my gaming PC. The problem with that is that every time I want to do that, I'm going to have to switch over my microphone to the gaming PC. At least the microphone. Actually, and the 4K cam. I'm gonna have to switch both of those, unfortunately. The other options that I'm trying to work out are doing the YouTube stream on my let me put this. Let's get this one. My streaming PC, what is now my streaming PC, which is the way it should go. The problem is I'm just having problems, and maybe the computer needed to be rebooted or something, or I needed to close the web browser and open it up, but it just would not. It was going in an not endless cycle, but every time I tried to start a stream on it, it would keep telling me that, hey, you got to close your camera's being used by another app. So close the software so we can access the camera, and there wasn't anything. I had nothing else open. I did it first, but I had closed it. So I can't figure that out. Rumble, the issue there is that in order to get a live stream going, I need one of two things. I need either at least five followers, or I need to pay money. And I probably don't want to do any of that. I do have to work, work on not broadcasting, but sending out, being able to get five. You think 5 followers would be easy? It is, but I have not advertised my account. So I mean, I'll get to that once I actually advertise it, but whatever. Anyway, so I haven't looked into any of that. At least not today. Today, tomorrow, probably not either. I generally try to I like taking the Sabbath off. You're not supposed to do anything on Sunday if you're a Christian or Jewish. I take the Sabbath as Saturday. But so I don't like to do anything while on Sunday, and I actually started taking I do work on Friday. Try not to do too much on Monday either. I try to keep that open as a kind of second part of the weekend, if I want to call it that. So I'm probably going to play some more games tomorrow. I played a number of games today, and we can get the horrible, great Devils win last night. Today was just a disaster. I mean, they just looked like completely uninterested. And unfortunately, both the Rags and the Hurricanes, unfortunately, both won. The Islanders did nothing to help us out in that game, even though they were leading early into the second period. But whatever. Anyway, still in good position. Could overtake first, but again, this was a game that we should have had. Now it is back to back, but I mean the Rags, they didn't say anything about having back to back games. They didn't. They lost in, was it the shootout or overtime last night? Came back and really stuck it to who was it, Columbus? I forget who they played. Jets are a good team, decent team. They were leading a month ago their division, but they've fallen back a bit and they've been losing late, and we've beat them before. But this is a team that we've had trouble with before in the last number of years. So, but to come back and just get it fully stuck in our ass was just they just looked like they didn't want to be out there. Yankees coming in, good way to come back from that pretty bad loss yesterday. I didn't understand what was going on in that game, but really good. Another shutout, 6-0 win. Really good. Stanton hits one to the moon. I mean, almost literally to the moon. Almost a 500-foot shot. But anyway, just getting that crap out of the way. Record. Brought the record of Agorist War to switch. Fascinating. Anyway, so a lot of game playing and a huge update today on the streaming issues. I do want to, I guess, talk about. Let's kind of go backwards and want to discuss what exactly went on with I continued playing SC, continue in Chapter 4, the Rolent region. Yesterday I basically just walked around and talked I talked to everybody. I activated the quests. I think, oh no, it was a short stream. And I was able to do the forget exactly what I think I just walked around and talked to. It actually might have not been yesterday. It wasn't yesterday. I'm thinking, oh man, I did 2 sessions today. That was a couple of days ago, where I just talked to everybody. It was slowly getting back into that because I had taken seemed like a couple of weeks off. I did very little streaming of it, very little playing for the last couple of weeks. And so earlier today and a couple of sessions, and basically went to the 3 major road areas. Was it Magla Trail, Milch Road, and Elise Highway, and cleared out all the chests. Fought a number of boss battles, 2 exterminations and 1 chest battle, and what else did we do? Visited a couple of the Groongate Went to the Bright family house. Went to the bridge. I forget what's it called, Vestal Bridge, something like that. Um, and advance the story somewhat. So when by next time I enter Rolent, I will go to a I will advance, the story will go to it'll advance to nighttime, and we'll be able to push the story when we get into Relent. Checking the boards, there's 4 new quests, side quests. 2 of them are exterminations. You have a quest where you have to find a lost engagement ring, and then the other quest is you have to find 6 fishing spots, and 4 of them are easy, pretty easy. You'll see them as you're going through the various areas. So, although the one's behind the Bright residence. So if you don't go behind the Bright residence on the one side, you won't see it. The last 2, one of them, you can't get right away because they're as you progress the story. So this is a quest that you can't finish right off the bat, but you actually have to advance the story somewhat. Additionally, but the 2 exterminations you can get finished with, and I believe the finding the ring. Although I did not do that one yet, so I do have to complete that. In addition to that, there is one of the towers, like each region basically, except for Grand Cell. I think is the only one that doesn't have a tower. I think so. One area there's I think the other 4 areas have towers. So we have as Mellis Tower or something like that. That's the one we're gonna be doing. I did not, following this one guide said not to go through it yet. I think there may be a quest that coincides with it, so I'd have to see. But it's basically just did all the main 3 outdoor areas. There's also the Mistwood or whatever it's called, which I think I have to go in there anyway for something. I think it might be main quest related, which we're gonna have to go in there anyway. So I didn't go there yet. So I didn't do the tower. I didn't do the Mistwood or Mistwald, whatever it's called. But did the Milch area, the Milch Main Road, the Magla Trail, and the Elise Highway, Groom Gate, what is it? So it's the one bridge area, Maroon Bridge. I forget what it's called. And then there's also Purzel Farm, which Purzel Farm we did as a part of the main quest, I think, in the prologue of the first one. As I said, it's been a number of years since I actually did the prologue. Did the prologue first. For the first, or I did obviously do the prologue first. Did the prologue for the first one a number of years ago. Then picked it back up last year and started going through. After I'd already gone, I was into chapter 2 in 0, into chapter 1 in the first Cold Steel. I even started Cold Steel 2, and that showed me that these games in the arcs at least are direct continuations. And anyway, so finally decided, you know what? Even as much progress as I made in these other 2, I want to go back to the first one, which I had started a number of years before. And so some of the stuff in the Rolent area, it's my mind's a little fuzzy on it because it's stuff I hadn't done for a number of years. But anyway, so the big thing that I did was doing of the two monster exterminations. You have the one with the two wisdoms. Wisdoms are nasty because um, they're casters that cast Shadow Spear, and they also can use what do you call it? They have a physical attack that has a drain ability on it, and I'll drain it like 1,000 hit points to heal. Very nasty monster. On top of it, I think they have extremely, or at least they have high physical defense. I won't call it extremely high, but it's really high. And they're not weak to any one element, but they're neutral. So basically, you have to fight them. The other issue is that you have a mix of other monsters, of course, just like any other extermination. Some exterminations you'll have just a bunch of just the whatever the monster is. Some of them have a mix of other monsters that you fight in the area. And sometimes there are a bunch of monsters that you fight in the area that there are a bunch of. Sometimes they may have increased stats over their normal counterparts. But regardless of whatever, this is a good fight because they drop their common and their rare drops are really good. And I don't know what the rarity, but judging from the rarity of other items from other fights, it's not exceptionally great. Being that they drop their common, I think it's a skull necklace, which you can buy now, which you should have 4, and you should definitely use it for this fight because they can inflict death blow, which is one hit kill. They also drop an HP 4 quartz, which we can't get yet. And the most we can get is the HP 3. Very good. We're going to want to, I think, at least 2 of these. You only have 2 wisdoms in this fight. The best thing to do is to at least try to get 1 now. So this is a fight that I was going into thinking I was going to fight it multiple times until he drops it. And judging by how long it took us to get HP 3s from that fat penguin, I think the penguin gave us HP 3 in chapter 2, or between chapter 2 and 3, I forget. This fight was nasty because if you watch my VOD, they kept killing Tita. I think she died like 3 times. And the thing again that really sucks about dying in this game is that you lose your craft points. That's the biggest pain in the ass, is that you lose all your CP. It's not, the character's dead, you got to revive them. Pain in the ass. It's the fact that they lose all their CP, which is a pain. So, I lost her like 3 times. So it was like, you gotta be kidding me. You're killing Tita every single time. Intentionally going and killing her. And luckily, when I ended the fight, I think they both dropped a chest. I got the friggin' I ended up getting the friggin' skull pendant and the HP 4 at the end of that. So I was like, I'm good on that, because I might fight this 10 times, 10 more times in a row and not get any, not get an HP 4. The one thing you want to get, I don't know if you have to, but if you're following like the quartz guide, if you're following the quartz guide or any other one, you want to make sure you have their same setup. Now, I can't because there's 2 quartz that I cannot get because I did not have a full save. And those are luck and yin yang. And the yin yang I can get. I think later there's a way to get it. Luck you can only get through the save. So when I go to the third one, even if I screw up and don't have a full PP save, I will download one off the internet. I'm not playing the game when I start the third one. I'm done. You know, it was a pain in the ass because I went through it with the first one too because, well, the first one you don't need a carryover save, but you do need to, if you're following the guides, to have the most optimal setups. There were times when I wasn't paying attention and there were certain fights I should have fought over until I got certain quartz to drop and I didn't. So I was behind. And being behind, you'd think it wouldn't make a big difference, but it does. It absolutely does. Like, for example, not having luck quartz, I'm still able to get Aerostorm on Shara now, but at the expense of either Action 2 or Cast 2, and I gave up Cast 2. I think I gave her Action 2 because that gives her 20% plus speed, which speeds her up anyway. But she could be casting her spells faster. And I'm not getting that because I had to give one up. So that's just an example. So anyways, it was very profitable. The other fights were pretty... the other extermination went well. And there's one boss chest extermination. And I forget what the heck is the drop in that box. It might be the scent quartz, which that does. I think it causes increased... Is it increased enemy encounter rate, or is it aggroes them enemies faster? I'm not sure how it works. But again, it might be the only ones that you can get in the game. But anyway, it's very, very good. On top of that, what else? Oh, I played some more Xenoblade. Let me tell you something. Xenoblade Chronicles X is really nice. Yeah, so thus far now, I've only, again, still very, what was it? It's not as complex. Yeah, as I said before, the problems I have is in the second one, I don't like the combat. I'm not crazy with the combat system. Changes they made in that one. The third one, which kind of, it always looked like they were trying to go away from 3 characters to more. And you saw that in the second one, where each character had a blade, which meant what a blade was in that one. You had a driver and a blade, is that what it was, or some shit? You had your main character, but then you had also this other character you can attach to you. And they power your main character up in some way. And I just did, I wasn't crazy. I said... With the combat system, and something even 20, 30, 40 hours in or whatever that I'm into it, still didn't completely understand. And watching speed runs, people break the game. Break open these fights. That should be difficult. The third one, I definitely like better than the first one. Or than the second one. I think the first is so far the best, but I think this might be my second favorite. It could even possibly take over over number 1 for me. Bottom line is I'm really enjoying it. So I went 1, 3, 2. This one's gonna hook in at maybe 2, maybe even overtake 1. It's a good series. I mean, there's no question. 1's really good, and the second one has been great. So anyway, I played some more of that. Finally got a tour of New LA. I joined the Blades. The Blades in that game are they're kind of I don't even call it the military of New LA, but they kind of are act in a military type of fashion. They also do a lot of exploration. They go out and do the jobs, kind of like bracers. And so we went out and we had to set some probes in different areas, which will allow you to know what's in each area when you set these probes down. And I guess this is something you'll be doing throughout the game, not just at this point. But then we had to go and fight a tyrant, which I guess is like an elite or named version of enemies that you see, like in the first one and the second, the other three. You have these elite versions of enemies, even if they're same or lower level than you, still could be much harder than they look, And that's the only thing that's tough about the first one, is that there are a lot of areas that you never go back to. So if you don't go and defeat, like especially if you're hunting all the elites in that game, and there are a lot of areas. There's a lot of areas you can go back to and overpower enemies that you couldn't fight before. But there are a lot of areas. There are a lot of dungeons and such, if you want to call them that you can't. That are completely, I want to say, missable. So, anyway, really have enjoyed this. It seems very. I think it's gonna. Yeah, it's gonna really be an open. I don't know if it's good. It's probably going to be the most open end of the first one. I don't know how much the third one opens up, because I'm only at the beginning of chapter 3 in that one. 2, I forget which chapter. I won't forget where I am in that one. But again, as I said before, I'm just not a huge fan of it. Just not a huge fan of it. I didn't like the whole battle. Probably because there's some things about like the chains and how you use elements, and how to get the specific, because you can like use element chains. I forget how exactly it is, and then in the blade system itself, where you really have to it's almost like opening up packs of cards. You have to when you unlock blade. It's not. You get these, what is it? I forget, crystals or something, and you use them, and they can unlock random blades. And you want certain rares and things like that. It's almost like opening packs of cards, essentially. And it's got that. And I just never really got into that. And spent the time to actually, because by the area that I'm in, I'm supposed to have certain blades, I should have certain blades of certain elements and stuff like that, with certain, I think the blades have different elements as well as essentially jobs or classes, so to speak. But anyway, I don't want to get all into it. I do want to tell you, though, that all the issue that I had yesterday, and I didn't really talk, I guess I didn't do a show yesterday, all the issues that I had yesterday, if you didn't know, I had a ton of issues, I think starting the day before, but it was definitely all day yesterday, trying to figure out how to stream. I finally decided to start trying to stream my retro consoles. And the one I chose was a PS2. And I hooked it up via the capture card to the streaming PC using the this AV to HDMI converter. And got it to OBS. It worked because as far as part of it did, because I got it on the TV. Oh, let's get my third can. But this one's not recording. I got it on the display on my Samsung and was playing it, except for an OBS. it was completely, the screen was completely black. And I was like, I don't understand what the hell's going on. Spent all day looking at hours of just researching the internet, trying to find issues with not only my specific capture card, but with any capture cards. The problem is when you look at, if you just put in streaming, retro games, the most common thing you're going to get is the setup where you basically just do a basic setup, streaming setup on your PC using emulators. And that's not what I want to do. I want to use real hardware. The hardware issues that I found, again, used different. I could not find, for using the XR1 Lite, could not find really anything, even on EVGA's own forums. And the forums are a pain in the ass because they talk about, people just talk about random shit on the forums too, just like any other site. And just all day, no matter what I did. And I did complete breakdowns of the PS2 as far as the whole setup, and reset up several times throughout the day. And every time I got a black screen, I was able to get it to come up and be playable on the TV. But in OBS, the OBS screen was black. Was not getting any audio either. Started looking this shit up. During looking this stuff up, several times where the whole issue was she's old. Trying to find out what the hell is going on. And I'm finding all different things, from possibly needing a different graphics card, capture card, possibly needing different, even more, going with component. So I'd have to get a component cable for the PS2 and another converter box component to HDMI, to possibly going through with a RetroTink, which is an upscaling it, and then seeing if that's the issue, that my thing wasn't, my box, capture card wasn't capturing it because it wasn't low enough resolution, even though it says it can go down to 480, but 480p. And then maybe a SCART, which I think SCART is like European, like some kind of European cable, because it has a connection, like the one end. I guess it's a male end. I'm not sure. That I have no idea what it hooks into, so I had no idea what that was. So I'm like, this just got, because if I had to get an upscalers go for, I saw the cheaper one, like, was $100. Others were talking over 200, 220, 250. Getting a decent component cable, anywhere from $10 to $30, and another converter box or switch could be $10 to $40 or more dollars. So just And I'm saying, this is just getting more expensive. Every time I'm running into something, and some solutions that I'm seeing is like basically buy more. I just bought a new 4K monitor. I bought a splitter, one converter so far. I know I'm going to have to get more cables and converters. I do want to get, and I will get, a component cable and converter eventually, but not, I didn't, wasn't, and down the line, you know what, may get an upscaler, absolutely, to make the older games look better. But I didn't think they were going to become standard right out of the box. You know, I need it right out of the box just to be able to play. Yeah, because here's some of the stuff on here. So it turns out today, so I just slept on it. You know, I was like, you know, I did it throughout the day, and it wasn't that I left it together. I was in OBS. I came down to two things. There was either a hardware issue where I needed new hardware, again, new hardware, either new cables or whatever, or an upscaler or whatever, or it was something related with OBS. The thing that was weird was that, well, that didn't sit well with me in OBS was that I was not getting audio either. It wasn't like there's sometimes you get the black screen, but you're still getting audio. I wasn't getting any audio pumped through either. So I was like, it could be either one of these things. It turns out I started watching some more. There's not a lot. There was not a lot of help looking through the internet. Not a lot of help. Not a lot of video. I mean, there's a ton of videos on hooking up and stuff like that, but not a lot specifically to what, you know, troubleshooting. Particularly with the capture card, but with other stuff. I mean, a lot with emulators, a lot with just how to set it up and it should work kind of shit, but not getting down, okay, if this is not working. I played around with a bunch of options for video in OBS, either with the XR Lite itself and also with the general settings, and could not get the thing to come on. So anyway, long story short, because I'm going long, I'm almost at 40 minutes. I decide today, I was like, you know, I'm just going to play games today. But I got the urge. I started watching some more videos that I hadn't watched yesterday. First read this one thread. It looked promising, but then ended up being, it was a 9-year-old thread. Wasn't really that helpful at all. Found some other videos, I said, of setting up. Not the same capture card, but setting up and going into OBS and stuff and looking at their stuff. You know, this guy set up a PS1 or PS2, came right on OBS once he set up the scene for it. I'm like, you gotta be. I was like, you know what? Let me try my PS1. I got my PS1 right over here. It uses the same exact AV cable. He's using the video I just watched. The guy was using AV cables, AV cable to HDMI, and it got it up and on. Dang, it didn't have to. He wasn't using component. He got it up on OBS. So I hook it up just like I had it up yesterday, but instead of PS2, PS1. Got Tales of Destiny, I think Tales of Destiny 2. Put that in, voila. It friggin' works. I said, well, this is great. The PS1 actually friggin' works. So I was like, man, maybe tomorrow I'll try PS2. But I said, I'm all set up right now. Let me just get the PS2s right here. Oh, man. And I said, let me do this. And son of a... Guess what happened? The PS2 finally worked. I don't know what it was. What I'm now suspecting is the most likely culprit is that I is that I did not I what I should now I closed and opened OBS multiple times yesterday as well, so it wasn't closing and opening OBS. What I think happened is I think my computer needed to be I think it needed a full reboot. That's what I'm thinking. I should have rebooted my computer at some point. Because something was not right. It wasn't being detected or something. Or maybe maybe it was OBS and closing and opening of, because sometimes you close and open you'll have an issue with a web browser. Then you close and open the web browser, and sometimes that fixes it, but there's times that, depending on what it is, it doesn't fix the problem. And so you'll have to restart your computer. And I just never restarted my computer yesterday. I kept it on the whole time. So what I think happened is I just, all I had to do, I think that's the most likely issue. I think that's the most likely issue of what happened yesterday. And it worked. I did 2 test streams. The PS1 was Tales of Destiny 2. The PS2 was Arkham Nepishtim. I also thought maybe it was Arkham Nepishtim, because sometimes there's a possibility sometimes a certain game or may not be compatible or whatever with well, yeah, like for example, I know it's not streaming, but like for example, there's some games that are not compatible with like backwards compatibility or something, like with the PS3 or PS4 or PS5. The PS5, there's some PS4 games that aren't directly backwards compatible or whatever. There's things like that. Sometimes a game has an issue for whatever reason. So I was thinking, it could be that or whatever. But bottom line is I fixed it. So anyway, I went pretty long. I'm going to talk more about this in greater length. I talked about rambled about a lot of bullshit. But I'll see you possibly tomorrow, possibly the next day, maybe next month. We'll see. But thank you. And may the Lord be with you. And until next time, over and out.